Hello to all you yids out there. This is the Heart Now Here Spurs Fans podcast, a podcast from a bunch of yids to all you yids around the world. And 7 days ago, we said we hope we come back on here with a renewed sense of optimism, with 3 points in the league, a place in the fourth round, and we've got neither. It's breaking point. It's breaking point, yids, to the point that we've got on a fellow supporter, good friend of ours, Orrin Campbell, on the show alongside us as a full quartet to talk about what has been another disastrous week, not just on the pitch, PR wise, transfer wise. I mean, I'm not sure it gets much worse. And we've done this for 5 years of some tough toil and trouble as Tottenham fans. But Kev, Matty, TJ, I'll start with you. How you doing, lads? You all right?
Hanging.
All good, mate. All good.
Hanging, mate. Bad. Yeah.
TJ, you were saying off air you got in this morning, mate.
Yeah, don't say it too loud, mate. It's still a bit frosty in the ass, you know what I mean? So you think it's cold outside, you come fucking stand in my living room.
Not even the heating is defrosting that frostiness in there.
No, yeah, I one of those where I was like, yeah, I'll be back about 10, end up walking in at 1 in the morning. So yeah, I just fucking let it go a little bit yesterday. I think after watching the football.
Once you're late, you're already in trouble anyway, so you might as well kick the arse out of it, innit?
Yeah, pretty much, mate. Just fucking, I drunk too much, missed the last train, cab home. Yeah, bank's empty, Mrs. unhappy. It's fucking great weekend, mate. Spurs out the cup. Loving life.
That's what you said off camera. You said relationship over, no money. I said, what are you talking about? You and the missus, or Frank and Tottenham and the board? Because fucking hell, that is where we are as a team, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lee, we don't know who we'd rather be at the moment, TJ or Thomas Frank.
Yeah, no, all jokes aside, she's all right. I'm only winding you up. But yeah, no, I just fucking proper had a proper hangover this morning, man. I was boozed up way too much yesterday. Didn't eat anything.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was suffering. But nice big breakfast and lasagna later. I'm all right now. I'm good to go again.
Well, it's the only thing that makes us feel better. I mean, as Emilio Gaskin says, he's gutted. The season's over. We'll always have Bilbao, of course, but that feels like a long time ago. And Kev, we've all been on the Instagram, the TikTok this week. We've let our thoughts be known, and I'll go into different things. But one thing that you were sharing the other day, especially in the group, was about that march from the pub together to be together in that stadium to create an atmosphere. What were your thoughts on the day as a fan and what the fans were trying to do and what you got back?
Yeah, real interesting one for me in terms of all that. Like, first of all, I did say, I'm going to go back on myself a bit here. I did say that I find these marches, these posts that come out to drum up atmosphere. I've always said I find it quite embarrassing, especially being a bit of an old school head and coming in from the old ground. It's not something I've known Spurs fans ever have to do. So yeah, I was a bit critical of it. I respect the people that do it, but I find it as a club, I find it quite embarrassing that we have to do it, if you know what I mean. But fair play to the people that do it. And there's obviously a reason why they do it. And it's because, it isn't the old stadium in that sense. And obviously with everything going on, there's a lot of negativity around the place. So people are trying to drum up the support. So in that sense, with this week, I sat in the South Stand for the first time this season. I think I might have done 2 games in there before. So that march that goes from the pub, they all go into that South Stand. So when you see the videos of everyone singing in the concourse and banging on the steps and everything else, that's where it was. So I got a chance to witness that firsthand yesterday, and I've got to put my fucking respect out to the people that have started that, because you walk in there and it is absolutely fucking alive in there. And this is coming from someone who sits in the Northwest Upper. Got a child with me, so it's a family section, and you don't get any of that. My son, now being 14 years old, going on 21, he wants to feel the atmosphere. And he said it to me, even going in up the steps and going into the ground. He said to me, "Dad, how fucking good is this?" Because we don't get that on that side. So that was, and once we got in there, the place was going fucking mental in there, and that was because of them groups of people that have started that, and obviously everybody else that normally does it anyway. And it was a brilliant atmosphere in there, and it really got me going for the game. You know, I was quite negative going into it, as we all would be, but going into that South Stand and having that atmosphere before you get into the stadium, you know, really felt different in that sense. So yeah, it kind of got everyone excited in you know, pre-match and everything else. I know TJ probably tell you more because he's always in there, but yeah, it just give it a nice feel. And it's a shame that the team isn't giving you that back in terms of that kind of support, because that support in the gangways should transfer into that stadium. But what happens is they all sing and dance and get themselves up for it, and then you walk down the steps, and in 5 minutes you're flat as fuck because the team has started a certain way, or we're a goal down and whatnot. So, you know, it'd be really, really interesting to see us playing so well and having that atmosphere in the South as well. And it will be infectious around the ground, and it will be infectious towards the players. But the crowd is going to go quiet when the team are doing well. So how many marches we do and how much support we drum up in the gangways, if it isn't good enough on the pitch, it's going to fucking filter out really quick on the day. And that's something that obviously we need to change as a football club. The supporters are there. We just need the football to match it, you know. And unfortunately, the work ethic of some of them and managerial, you know, wrong decisions and whatever it isn't, you know, in the bigger picture of it isn't great in that sense. So in terms of the support will be there, and all Spurs have got to do is play well. And the fans will be there anyway, but you'll just have a better atmosphere down there and kind of give it the whole old White Lane vibe. If you want to give you something to sing about. And at the moment, they're not really giving us anything to sing about. So that's why people have to do these marches. But like I said, fair play to the ones that did it, because it created a good atmosphere for me and my son going to the South Stand. So kudos to you boys. Well done.
Yeah, and look, the fans are always going to do their part, but it's part and parcel, right? You've got to be infused by what you see. So before the game, the energy, the spirit, it's all going to be there, but energy transfers to one another. And if the energy from the pitch is not there, fans can only keep up energy for so long. You know, we're not like fans may be in different countries where sometimes they're not even watching the football. The amazing atmosphere is electric in the stands. There's jumping, but it almost feels like a club rather than actually reacting to the football. Over here, we're not so much like that. So you have to get something back. Matt, I was talking to you off air, and you know, someone I've always sort of seen as you're always looking at the positive of where it could be, how, you know, to go down there and enjoy it. You said yourself it might be a sofa season ticket for you now on. How was your thoughts about it and what you felt watching yesterday?
Now, first of all, just massive shout out to Timmy. He's actually on the Instagram now, like in the chat. So he's a massive part of the atmosphere in the South Stand. So yeah, massive shout out to him in the chat. Because if you see him in the South Stand, he's the one that starts all the songs and that he's the one on that level deck. So fair play to him, man. If it's getting it going, pumping, that's what we want. Yeah, because we're not in that old stadium no more. It is completely different clientele in that stadium. Like you say, it comes with performances as well. And if we was playing better, then the atmosphere, like Kev said, would love to see. Like that first 10 games under Ange, what our lane was then. It was rocking, yeah. And that place can be that if it brings the performances. And I think where we're playing so bad, I think it's good that these groups are trying to keep the atmosphere alive, to keep keep people going at the minute, mate, because the football and the performances and that, I think we can all sit here and say, we don't want to go. Do you know what I mean? We don't want to go Spurs at the minute. But yeah, I don't know, Lee. It's hard, mate. You take yourself down there, you spend your money, you buy drinks and that in the stadium. And again, people say about yesterday's performance, first half was shocking. People say, but you played so well second half. We played well for 20 minutes. And that 20 minutes, yeah, we could have equalised. But then after that, the intensity dropped. I think we just run out of steam. But I do sit there and I think I'm not going to blame Frank, because he can only go with the resources that he's got. And he's picking up injuries left, right, and centre. And what can you do? Do you know what I mean? He's playing with kids now. Do you know what I mean? He's trying to do what he can. But some of his selections over in this managerial appointment, he could have done much better. But yesterday, I don't know where that performance come from second half, because we didn't see that in the first half. And I don't know if that's Frank giving him a bollocking or the players just thinking, do you know what? We're going to go out and fucking play how we want to play. Do you know what I mean? No one knows. But right now, things are not good. It's not good, Danny. It's not
at all. And I guess, you know, we've got our great brother, Oren Campbell, in here, known for many years, massive Tottenham fan, now lives up in Rochdale. We're watching it like me, Oren, you're watching it at home. You know, I feel for the guys because these guys go everywhere. Big love to Matt, TJ, and Kev. They go everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Support this club for everything. But even as a fan at home, it's hard to watch. What's your thoughts on what you're seeing? You know, we talked a bit off air, but what you're seeing, how you think a style is, a set plan, manager, players. What are your thoughts when you're watching on the TV?
Yeah, so first of all, I mean, for the guys that are going on a regular basis, 'cause I said to Kev earlier on in the week in another group, I don't know how you guys are continuing to do it, and I know that, you know, there's passion and love for a team, and that will never die. But it's honestly diabolical what you're watching on the TV and what you're watching in the ground. You know, to hear that we as fans are having to almost drum up our own support to keep the ground, to keep the ground's atmosphere up, to me is a disgrace. Like, where are the club in all of this? Where are the club working together with these supporters group via the trust to be able to enable these things? It's, for me, you know, it's ridiculous. And then when we come to the game yesterday, you know, as Matt said, we played well for 20 minutes, and, you know, as I said before off air, we're talking about that like that's a great thing. Like, desire, running, that should be the basics of any football team. And Matt, where I take a bit of umbrage and where I disagree a bit is Frank's had long enough. You know, no manager on earth walks in and finds a group of players that they're completely happy with. However, you know, at the beginning, this guy came in. We were told about tactical flexibility, his ability to coach and develop players. I've not seen one iota of it. Can we name one player that we can say has gone forward under Frank this season? No. And, you know, the same thing about injuries and things that was leveled against Ange Postecoglou last season, and they weren't used as excuses. So for me, I can't use those as defenses for Thomas Frank. And, you know, just to talk about the board, ENIC 2.0, the Levy family, or whatever the fuck they're called nowadays, you know, some serious questions have to be asked about them, because May was 7-8 months ago when we were all on the high of our lives. How is it that Tottenham Hotspur is the only club on earth seemingly that can take May, the lightning that we had in the bottle in May, and turn it into a thunderstorm at the beginning of January? For me, it's an untenable position for the players, for Frank as a manager. I'm surprised he's still at the club, to be honest. And the board, for me, I've got some serious questions to answer for.
But Oren, do you think Frank's been given the resources right now? And even though the transfer window's open after injury and selling Johnson, you still think he's been given the resources?
No, Matt, no. I'm not saying that in the slightest. But what I am saying is that when it comes to player development of systems, development of principles, that is on Frank, and we cannot put that on solely on the board. Yes, you know, it's the 11th of January. We should have had one player, you know, that's going to improve the first team through the door already. Again, we knew Son was leaving. He's not been replaced. We knew probably Brennan Johnson wasn't really good enough to start for Spurs. We knew that probably in January or the summer he was going to go. Where's the proactive planning? Where's the attack in the market? You know, we've got money from the Savinho transfer from the summer that's unspent. And then there's talk of £150 million war chest. Well, where the fuck is it? What's Lange doing? What's Paratici doing? Time's ticking.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's really hard to pin it down to one thing. You know, Frank, for me personally, I feel the more and more I see the team, I feel the more and more he's out of his depth. I think there's stuff that I'll come on to from Wednesday and the loss at Bournemouth. But I feel like, when it was all going wrong with Ange, this time last year, when we got pumped by Everton and it didn't look good at all, and they were obviously in the doldrum, they just had Moyes take over, you know, we looked poor, and we thought, listen, he's probably out of it. But he had that clinging on to a semi-final against Liverpool and a Europa League run that obviously ended in triumph. But you knew what you was getting. You knew where he was trying to play. You knew how he was trying to play it. We had injuries galore, kind of what we're getting to now, as Oren says. And it just felt, though, that at least we went out with intent. And every time that manager stood up and he let it be known what it was about being a Spurs manager, what it was, the principles, as we keep going on about here, and the way that he wanted to play. Now, that was flawed. It was flawed in many ways, but it was an identity. And it was an identity that, in essence, regardless of what people want to say about where we came in the league and what the Europa League is, it turned into a massive triumph that anybody would cry for, a European trophy. And I just don't see that with Thomas Frank and TJ. I feel like now, you know, after your comments last week about what he needs to do you think he can still do that after the 2 games you see, when you said it's got to be Conference League at the bare minimum?
I'm saying that as a base level for the team that we're supposed to be. Similar to what Orin's saying, right? Like, we have a 20-minute performance where the players show desire, and all of a sudden we're like, actually, the second half was really good. You know, we got to focus on that, do that. It's like, that is the base case for how you should set up in games. If players aren't going out there fighting for the shirt in an FA Cup, which, by the way, has seen so many Premier League teams knocked out, like especially like established teams already out of the cup, and that's something else that we're now out of, right? And for me, the season's over. But when it comes to Frank, like, and where we finish in the league, European places as Tottenham Hotspur has to be the bare minimum. I'm not sitting here saying that we're entitled and we should be getting it every year, but realistically, if that is not your aim, what are you competing for? Like, if you're not trying to win things and finish as high as possible, what is the point? Like, this is why, like, everyone was saying, oh, you know, we might get a top half finish 10th. You might as well finish 17th in my eyes. It doesn't matter to me finishing 10th. Like, it doesn't. All you do is qualify for the Premier League next year. That's all finishing 10th does. The same as what happens when you finish 17th. It means absolutely nothing to me. Like, finishing 10th, 12th. I want European places as a bare minimum. And not just that, you need to take the domestic cup seriously, right? We knew we weren't going to win the Champions League. We got it via the place in the Europa League final. You win that and you get in there. I mean, that's, like, whether you think that's right or not, whatever. Like, it's an incentive, I guess, for that competition to win it. But you look at the domestic cups, and listen, we've had a hard draw. We had Newcastle away in the League Cup. Do you know what I mean? At the time, they were on a bit of a purple patch, and then Villa are exactly the same. But they were there. Villa were there for the taking yesterday. We could have won that game, and if we had a bit more desire and played like we did in the second half for 20 minutes for the full 90.
Yeah.
And so when you sit there and look at it, it's so hard at the moment. Like, I don't really know where to put it. Like, we can all sit here and go, you know, Frank is tactically, or he's out of his depth. So, you know, he's gone to a club and he's had it very nice at Brentford. Everyone's kind of all like, you know, finishing the Premier League, you've done a good job. The expectations are higher at Tottenham Hotspur, and I think the pressure that comes with that, I think it stifles managers, and I think they're struggling under it. And I think some people don't realise the job they have when they come to Tottenham. And the problem with that is the players as well. I don't think our squad is good enough at the moment to be achieving these expectations that we should be getting. And that, for me, lies in poor transfer windows and the lack of we've gone out in this transfer window. We've sold an attacking player where currently in my opinion, we don't have anyone. Like, we've got no one up front, right? We've got no one in attack. Dom Solanke's coming back. He obviously got like 10. I said he'd get 10 minutes at the weekend. But Kulu's not. Madison's out for the season. Kulu looks like, you know, maybe after the March International. So you sell an attacking player, and the first person you buy is a 19-year-old Brazilian defender. It's like, tell me why I'm going to get excited about that. Tell me how you're filling me with confidence that you know what this squad needs. If your first buy after selling an attacking player is a 19-year-old from Brazil, an unknown. We need to sort out the attack. The problem with us this season is we've got nothing going forward. I'm not really like, I like stats obviously, but I'm not really like someone who focuses on them and make, like, they make or break me. But the XG this season has been terrible. Like this, so for people hear XG all the time. For people that don't know about it, it's what goals you're expected to get from the positions you get in and the chance of you scoring in those positions and stuff like that. So it basically means we're not getting into situations where we can score goals. So that's before we've even got someone who can put the ball in the net. We're just not getting in those situations. Yeah. So that's the key problem. And I think he's walking a tightrope already. You know, the first comment you posted from Emilio Gaskin was season's over. I feel the same. I think the Champions League, like I said last week, it's like you're an elephant in a tree. You're just waiting for us to drop out of that. And I mean, yeah, the cups are all gone now. If we don't get 6 points, and I'll reiterate this, if we do not get 6 points from West Ham and Burnley, he'll be gone, if not beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I can argue with that. I think that's the problem. And then yesterday, you lot, Kev, you said at the top of the show that you went in there, renewed sense of optimism. It felt like it was all together. Big love to Timmy on the Instagram, who's a big part of that. You went in willing the team on to see something. Aston Villa strangled that out of us pretty soon. I thought the first goal, as good as it was, it came down the middle. We didn't close them. They put 4 passes all the way down the spine of the pitch. And then it was a lovely bit from the forward who turned, gave it into the scorer. But yeah, we came in the second half with that 20-minute purple patch that we've talked about. Do you think that was the Frank bollocking, as you said? Do you really think that was the players who just went, we can't go down like this? Do you think it was one of the leaders, if that's what they are, in Van der Ven or someone like that, in the dressing room saying, fucking roll your sleeves up? You know, because what I did see in that was a couple of players finally run with the ball. I saw Simmons start running with the ball. And what a difference it makes when you make a 5-yard dribble and you take that just that little bit more with the ball going forward. It drops their team back. They have to think about where everyone else is, and it opens the pitch up for you. Where do you think that came from? Do you think that was something from Thomas Frank, or do you think that was autopilot from the players?
Are you asking me to, Lee?
Yeah, Kev. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you what it was, but I mean, I saw Matt at half time and I said to Matt, how long are you giving this, you know, before we fuck off and go get back down the pub? And we're both like, you know, 65 minutes, 60 minutes. If I don't see something in 10 minutes, if they exceed another one. I mean, at half time, everyone was fucking doom and gloom down there. It was like, what the fuck have they just churned out there in that first half? You know, what you mentioned there, when you talk about running on the ball and everything else, that was non-existent in the first half. The first half for me was a team that was in their shell, had no confidence, had no idea of style of play, had no patterns, played backwards, feared getting on the ball. It looked like a team for me that was just sort of fucking picked over the fucking park, doing numbers with your fucking mates, Wembley. It was a bit like that. It was they looked like a bunch of strangers together. And this manager's had them now since August. And that first half for me was as bad as it fucking gets. It really was. And I think not only did Aston Villa play well, but you know, they probably took advantage of a team at the moment that is fucking struggling on all levels of confidence and everything else. Now, whether that's they don't want to play for the players, for the manager. If there's too much disgruntlement around the club with fans, if the social media is getting to them, whatever it is, it isn't good enough as a whole. You know, so when that second half performance started, it was a bit like, I mean, I was still having a chat with Matt when the second half started. And I went back to my seat and Cody was like, in 5 minutes, he was like, Dad, we've nearly scored already. Like Simmons was on it. They've come out a different team. He noticed that within 5 minutes. I think I was up there at 48, 49. And in 4 minutes, he was like, Dad, this is fucking mental. They're getting on the ball. They're running. I mean, for us to get excited over a player getting on the ball and running 10 yards and jinking past someone, for us to get excited over that is a fucking disgrace. For a team that's supposed to play a certain way, you're at home in front of 60,000. You've got 9,000 Villa fans that you need to shut up. You've just had a shit first half. For us to get excited over a fucking dribble shows you how fucking bad we are at the moment, how bad that first half was especially.
Can I just say that decision, by the way, was a shocker to give 9,000 tickets to Aston Villa. I know you've got to give 10% as a minimum, but to give them the extra 5% was a fucking shocking decision. Yeah,
I mean, it's you know, I mean, when everything's tough as it is anyway, 9,000 Villa fans or whatever fucking club goes in there, they're going to fucking sing their hearts out. It felt like a home game for them in that first half. It's all you could fucking 100%. Hear. But when that second half started, it was like, right, so you've now waited from, I would say, well, I don't know when, if I could pick a game out of this season that we've had such an attacking half of football. Even the odd games that we've won here and there, City away, whoever it was, Palace away, we haven't played great. We just defended well and scored on the counter. But I can't remember the last time this season that we actually got a game by the scruff of the neck and looked like kind of a bit of a Tottenham of old, a bit of an Ange Postecoglou side where it was attacking, it was breathtaking. So we now know the players can do it. So why hasn't that been there since the start of the season? Why has it took player spats with fans, fucking negative press, negative social media, booing at home? Why has it took all this to this point to now go, well, actually, we can go out there and have a fight for it? Do you know what I mean? I mean, Palhinha for me yesterday set the fucking tone of everything. That fucking guy knows the fucking apple. He knows what it means. He went over to them fans at Bournemouth and was fucking having a chat with them, saying, look, we're trying. He come out after that game, only player that come out and spoke and said, it's not good enough. It's a disgrace. We're trying to get better. We're trying to do this. He publicly comes out and then goes out in that second half and smashes every fucker on that pitch because they gave him way too much respect in that first half. They didn't want to fucking get near him and didn't want to crunch him. And he set the fucking tone. Tell Christian Romero to take that fucking armband off and give it to that player. They are the sort of players that you need in this team at the moment. And he, I think, stirred up everything yesterday and got, just by smashing a tackle, just by then giving it to Simmons for Simmons to run and beat someone, it lifted the place. And that's why I stayed in there to the end, because it gave me that belief that they can do it. But who has made him do that? I don't know. I don't know if Frank's given a bollocking. I don't know if Palhinha's gone in there or Van der Ven, who's captain, and gone, right, this is fucking not good enough. Can we do this? If you can do it against Aston Villa, why the fuck can't you do it against anyone else? So now you've set the benchmark of playing a really decent side in Aston Villa and just shown at home now that you can play on the front foot. So when it comes to the West Ham game, I don't want to see backwards. I don't want to see sideways. I don't want to see Pedro fucking Porro, and he's a cunt I'm going to dig out on here as well, because he is the epiphany of a player that has it too fucking good, thinks it's okay to go over to his fucking away fans, his 450 Bournemouth fans or whatever it was, who die for this fucking club and travel everywhere. Who the fuck does he think he is to go over there and have a go at someone who pays their fucking hard-earned money to watch them? And that cunt goes out there and gives you fucking 2 out of 10 performances, can't fucking cross a ball. I watched that cunt yesterday get on the ball at right back, and I watched him play a shit ball down the line and starts fucking digging out Archie Gray. In my eyes, players like him let the fucking side down. Get him off. Get fucking young players on that want to fucking fight. Dane Scarlett done more running than fucking Richarlison's done since fucking August. Give them sort of players the go, because they're the sort of players that might get this manager out the shit a bit. Okay? But he isn't giving these players a chance. He's giving these fucking frauds like Richarlison minutes, Pedro Porro minutes, Christian Romero to some point not been good enough. People like Palhinha, Archie Gray, Simmons to a point yesterday was good. Fucking Ben Davies as well. Let me give you some fucking kudos on Ben Davies yesterday, because we slag him off all the time and say he ain't good enough. He gets roasted away. He was one of the best players on that pitch yesterday. Fucking solid. And this is a player who really shouldn't be anywhere near it. And it's players like that who will get you out of shit and die for this club, and they're just like us in the stands. But you've got players like Pedro fucking Porro, who thinks it's okay to go on that pitch, express himself like a fucking baby, whinge at every shit pass he makes, has a go at his fucking supporters. That's the sort of players I don't want, and they're the sort of players that have got good managers to sack in fucking recent years. So from now on, second half is now your benchmark of how you go forward in play. I want to see that at West Ham, and I want to see it from minute 1 to the end minutes. I want to see that sort of passion, because you boys were there when they started playing like that in the second half. The whole fucking ground fucking lifted, and it felt fucking good to be back in there just for that second half. Yeah. That was the best bit of football I've seen down there all year, and we fucking lost the game. Do you know what I mean? I'm going into that game. This is where I was. I was going into that game at half time. Cody went to me, Dad, what time do you want to leave? I'm like, 60 minutes. But I said, Cody, do you know what? All I want from them that second half now is just to show a bit of passion. If we lose, we lose. I mean, I shouldn't be saying that. I should be saying like, no, I want us to get back in the fucking game and win it. I'm at that point at half time thinking, I just want you to go out and just show a bit of passion. You can go out the cut, but I just want you to show a bit of passion. That's how much we're starved of that at the moment. And that needs to change. So the second half performance from now is how you go on. And then we'll have to see. But if it starts going back to how it was, sideways, backwards against West Ham and Burnley, like TJ said, if you do not beat them two teams that are sitting below you and probably relegation bound, then you deserve to either be sacked or you deserve to go down your fucking selves, because it wouldn't be good enough.
Yeah.
Sorry, lads. Sorry.
No, it's great. That's we need that passion.
My fucking mic and everything.
No, they need that passion there. I mean,
yeah, Pedro Porro's a cunt.
Do you want me to put you backstage for 10 to cool down?
Fucking, I'm gonna take the top off.
Matt, like saying that, Matt, as Frank got the dressing room, is it like the inmates running the asylum? Is it Paulini has gone, fuck this, puts a tackle and goes, you lot fucking join me here? Or was it a bollocking? Like, do you think he's got that dressing room that can help us get 6 points in these next 2 games?
Do you know what, Isley? I think there's a couple of key players in that squad right now, and you see a lot of frustration boiling up after kickoff, and like Pelini yesterday, Van der Ven yesterday. I think there's certain players now just thinking, fuck this. We need to roll our sleeves up and we need to just divert at what Frank kind of wants us to do. And I honestly do think that. I think Pelini yesterday just thought, fuck this. I'm playing my own game, and boys, you're all going to come on this train with me. I honestly do think.
Matt, even the end bit for me, people will look at him and go, he shouldn't have done what he did. But do you know what? That for me, Matt, that for me just showed you how much he fucking gives a shit. And if they all could just have a little bit of that inside them, certain players will be okay. But players like him are the ones that they should all fucking be like.
There's a couple of players. There's a couple of players in that team now that should be starting. And I think Pelini is one of them. Van der Ven's one of them. I'm even going to say Kevin Danso. Danso will give you everything every time he puts that shirt on. Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Tell. I'm going to say absolutely Tell. I think he gets it. Tell gets it. You can see he wants to try and rally the crowd up. Do you know what I mean? I think Ben Davis is one of them. But the rest of them, guys, I think Archie Gray to an extent as well. Do you know what I mean? But where do we want to go as a team? I don't know. Have we lost? Has Frank lost the dressing room? I think he has, mate. If I'm honest, I think he has. I think there's a lot of personalities in that changing room that don't like the way we're playing and just thinking, fuck this. Like, we're just going to go out and play our attacking way now. We will see this against West Ham on the weekend.
And listen, Matt, if you're saying that Frank, if players are coming out and having to do their own thing, the dressing room's gone. So why are we persisting? Why are we persisting with this manager? And sorry, one sec, Matt, one sec. Because we're, and I keep coming back to this style of play and patterns of play and the identity that Frank is trying to instill in the club. When Pochettino first came to Spurs, we knew what the deal was. We knew if you weren't going to run, if you weren't going to press, you were out the team. We knew with Conte, first game, 3 at the back, wing play. We knew all of those things. We knew under Ange Postecoglou, the first game against Brentford a couple of years ago, inverted fullback. We knew what is it under Frank? What team are we? And that's the bit that's sticking in my craw. What team are we under Thomas Frank? We're talking about, we've conceded less goals than last season, but that's against a person who everyone's saying didn't give a fuck about defending. So that's no barometer of improvement in my eyes.
Yeah.
But
that's the thing, Owen. I was going to say to you there as well. Like, we brought in this executive, Vinay, famously known for being down the road, famously known for giving Arteta time. Apparently, when it was all going wrong with Arteta in 8th position, this was a guy who said stick by it, and now look where they are and stuff like that. PR-wise, I don't think the club could be any lower. Our manager had a fucking Arsenal coffee cup at the Vitality Stadium. We weren't away at Arsenal. It was so ludicrous. People thought it was AI.
Well, Matt, Lee, sorry, what does that tell you though? How can you see what's happening on the pitch when he can't see what's on his cup, mate?
Well, this is it. This is what I'm saying, and I think, in that sense, I agree with you, and I just think in that sense, Oren, you even think is it because there is no style, because we don't see anything? Do you think that he's had enough time, and really, do you think if he had more time, if he had a transfer window, another one, do you think things might come into play?
Yeah, so personally for Frank, I think we could give Frank 20 transfer windows. It ain't gonna work, right? So let's leave that to one side for a minute. And when we're talking about Vinay and the board and things like that, it's on them to set the culture. It's on them to set the philosophy, and the philosophy's been there for our lifetimes in supporting Spurs. What is it? Attacking players and players that excite, get on the ball and excite the fans. We are not about that at all. So that's, for me, that's on the club. The club has appointed Nuno. The club's appointed Frank. We've gone to win our managers and not back them financially. We were in a great position under Pochettino, and we let the team rot for 3 years. Let's be honest about that. The team was left to rot. So all of those things for me are on the board. But again, for me, they've had 25, 26 years at this now. It's time for them to sell up. for me, because where else do we go? Where else do we go with this? And as Kev said earlier, I fear that in the next 3 to 5 years, if we don't get our finger out of our ass, we will get relegated.
Fucking
Honestly.
hell. That's
I think
almost
Lee, I think Vinay, where his name is, has come from down the road. I thought he's beat. But I think him and the Bald are actually Arsenal fans and are looking to dismantle us.
oh, scary to
Hey,
even
mate,
say that our
it
way.
does me, mate. I'm telling you, I think there's something right. Like, boys, we're 11 days in the window and there's nothing. There's nothing. We knew what state we was in and there's nothing. These recruitment signings or scouting should have been going on for as soon as the window's shut. Where are these months gone? What they've been doing through October, November, December? Like, I don't get it. Like,
Do you know
we've
what it
got
is,
no
Matt?
targets.
Matt, it's the links. It's like, we're always linked to players, even when we're not supposed to fucking need them. We've always been linked. And like, there's no links whatsoever. So I'm like, I don't know about you boys, but I'm in two minds of it of, are we actually fucking doing something here? Or, but like we're a big fan of the show, Shane. He messaged me earlier and he just said, I hope Thomas Frank don't get any money. Because the problem is if he goes out and buys players and nothing works, he's already got the noose around his neck. Someone else is then, that's a huge chunk of money that's going to be taken away from our next manager, if it comes in the summer or whoever we get after January, if we do then end up sacking Frank. So he's kind of hoping like we don't get any money to spend because he obviously doesn't want him in there and doesn't trust him. So this is interesting because it's like where it has been so quiet, are the boards sitting there thinking, do you know what? These supporters fucking don't like him. Do we really want to give him this money if we're not 100% sure on him? Like I said last week, I think they want him in charge. But, I mean, I sat in that South stand yesterday, right? And it was fucking toxic towards him. Fucking hell, mate. He was getting pelters fucking everywhere. And I sit in a different side of the ground. And I don't have characters like that around me. So it kind of, you see the true passion. You see what people really think in that South stand. And no one wants him there. No one wants him. And it's like, no one can see no light at the end of a tunnel with him, regardless of a transfer window or not. So it's that kind of that one. Do you give him the money to spend thinking he might not be our manager? Because whether they want to keep him or not, if that ground does not want him, they have to act on it. I don't know how many more losses you can have, how many more boos you can take. They whether they like it or not, they're going to have to fucking let him go. And it's like, do you want to give someone 150 million to spend and not sure if he's going to be your manager in the summer? I mean, that's the one you got to weigh up, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is the thing I was going to say, and TJ, I'll put it your way. It feels like, from what everyone's saying here, what I've said, what people are saying in the chats, and good friends of ours, fans from outside, you just read on social media. We need a project, right? There was a project in tail a little bit with Ange. We kind of knew what we wanted. We got the style back. Project's probably the wrong kind of word. Project, the only time I've really seen it was under Pochettino. Are we prepared, TJ, as a fan base? Do you think the board are prepared, or do you think they should prepare us for a project that does take time, 3 to 5 years, with a manager, setting a style and going, listen, you've got to stick through the hard times? And do you think if we were able to get that going, who would that manager be?
I think that is all you can do at Tottenham. I don't think there's many clubs where a manager comes. I think Chelsea have had it over the years where they switch managers and they tend to get quite good success like off the bat. But realistically, you look at all the successful teams in the history of the Premier League, especially, they've had sustained management through those periods. I'm talking Alex Ferguson. I'm talking Wenger when he was there. Guardiola, Klopp. These guys didn't have like fantastic first seasons. So whenever you look at this stuff, it is a project. Tottenham is like, be under no illusions, everyone listening to this. We are not in a good space. We're not a good club at the moment. We need to rebuild, and that's going to take time. The problem is that you need to pick someone that you're willing to give time. And this is where I come back to the thing I said at the beginning. You can give someone as much time as you want, but there need to be minimum standards met in that period as well.
Yeah.
So you can't just be like, we're going to give someone a project and we're going to accept everything. That's bullshit. Like, we're still Tottenham Hotspur. There still needs to be minimum standards that we need to meet. And if the manager's not meeting that, then clearly the project needs another reset. And I get what everyone says about the manager merry-go-round, but then we need to be doing a lot better to work out the philosophy that we have as a club. like you said just now, right? And finding a manager that fits that mold, as opposed to us trying to change the squad all the time to fit the new manager we want to bring in. Find the manager that plays the Tottenham way, that wants to do things and has passion to play the way we want to play, and back that person.
The thing is, Tej, what people will say to you is that if he had better attacking players in that team, would you get your Tottenham way under him? What do you think?
Maybe, but then this goes back to what we're saying, right? Like, where the fuck are they? Like, it's at the end. I said this on the last pod as well. You have these transfer windows. You know they're coming up, and like we on this pod can all see where the improvements need to be in that team. Why the fuck are we not buying anyone in those positions? Why aren't we buying a 19-year-old defender from Brazil? Like, I can't believe that there's people at this club that don't have that vision. Are not able to see that. I don't believe that's a thing. So clearly there's some other factor why they're not buying these players, or why they're not addressing the issues that need to be addressed. I don't know what that is. I have no idea, and we'll never know. But yeah, listen, it is a project. We are a project at the moment. We need that, but it's still minimum standards that need to be met. You can't just keep saying we'll go through the bad times. Even Arsenal, right, under Arteta, they were still finishing in European places. They make me laugh. They talk about our Europa League and all that, and you got to be in it to win it. They were in it for fucking 5 years and didn't win it once. Yeah. So it's do you know what I mean? Little things like that. But those minimum levels need to be met for if you're gonna have a project, whichever manager it is has to have and has to meet those minimum standards. And I'm sorry, but currently Thomas Frank isn't. And listen, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little bit in two minds about whether it's given time or not. But we need to see, like I think Orion put it perfectly at the beginning, who in that team has moved forward under him. And that's a really relevant question. If you've got a coach coming in and the players that you have are not being improved, that's already a sign. I like Frank. He's a bit of Mr. Nice Guy.
I think the body language on some of them speaks volumes. It really does. And when you look at people like Van der Ven, who's your sort of your captain type, or your vice captain, whatever it is, when you've got people like him, Romero coming out and doing what he's doing, I think they're just little snippets of the fact the players saying, I don't really like playing like this. I don't really like going backwards when we're fucking 2-0 down. Do you know what I mean? We've all played in football teams, right? I've played under coaches and to play a certain way, and I don't like playing like that. But you have to because you're told to. I don't want to see Jed Spence dribbling backwards when he's got all that grass to run in front of him. Shit like that. It's like that needs to fucking change, and he's the only one that can change that. But he's got such a tough job in his hands in turning the supporters around them. Like, I went in the mid-90s, right, where it was really shit. Didn't really have a sort of style of play or whatever it was. We had bang average players, but we had a couple of players that would carry us through times. Like I talk about, obviously, I did is Jerry Francis, you had Teddy Sheringham, and when you had Venables, you had Gascoigne and Lineker. But there weren't great players around them. Even when you want to go in a bit later on into thing under Graham, you had David Ginola, players like that who were just, David Ginola playing with Ramon Vega and David Kerslake and Colin Caldwell and people like that. It's just like, but they were the ones that would get you out the shit sometimes. They're the ones that Ginola would get on the ball and he would go forward. And the rest of the players couldn't keep up with him, but he would make things happen. There's no magic in that team at the moment. There's no players for me that want to go, well, do you know what? I'm going to roll my sleeves up. Apart from Palini yesterday, there's no players that want to roll their sleeves up and go, no, I'm going to give this a go today. And that's quite alarming how we can't get that out of certain players. You're attacking players in the sense of Spence, Dogie, Simmons, Richarlison, all these sort of players, Bergvall. I'm watching Bergvall pass backwards now. I mean, that is one player you don't want going backwards. He's like a breath of fresh air when he gets on the ball, wants to do it. But I feel like the managers is kind of strangling that out of them, that freedom of play at the moment. And when you've got fans like us who love to be on the front foot and grew up on players, even players like Raul Fox and Ronnie Rosenthal and Aaron Lennon, all these sort of players, they got on the ball and they made things happen. And it's just like, we don't have that at the moment. And if he doesn't find that, he'll be out the fucking door. But with this current squad, from my opinion, the body language sort of says to me, we're kind of done with you now. Can we have an attacking manager in that's going to, use these attacking players to full effect? Because at the moment, we're a team that's got decent attacking players, but there's a leash on them, and we can't be having that at home games, especially in the cup and whatnot. And hopefully, like I said, that benchmark will change. But I think he's got two games now where I've watched a lot of football this year, and West Ham are right. They're not fucking great, and I think if you lose that game, especially at home in front of your own fans, and Burnley, who are probably a team that's not as good as us on paper, but they'll probably have a fight, and they'll probably fight for each other, and that's something we don't have at the moment. No fight. So unless that fight is there, I think that will speak volumes of how much these players want to fight for this manager, like they have done with previous managers who have lost their job, especially under Ange. I did see them fight for Ange quite a bit, but at the moment, I don't see anyone apart from Paulinho that wants to have a fight and save this manager's job.
No. And this is the thing, you know, if you look even at the time when they won that Europa League and they brought Ange onto the podium, said, get over here. He was like, no, get over here. There was a sense that they wanted to play for him. Look at that Van de Ven interview with Gary Neville. The guy talks about him like he's still our manager. Didn't say a word about Frank, really, in many ways. But going back to the board, and Matt, I put this to you. Obviously, we're a big club. You know, all the banter and put that to one side that we might get thrown our way at times. We've got an incredible stadium, incredible training facility. We're a European champion of a European trophy, right? We've got a history. We're known as the entertainers. The problem is that we seem like we're fed lies from the board. We're told we want to compete on every front. 4 trophies, we want 4 trophies. Champions League, we can't keep Ange because we want to stay in where we are now. Do you think it would be a bad thing as a fan base and someone, Matt, you've been everywhere, home, away, abroad. Do you think it's a bad thing if a board come out and said, listen, especially because shit's on general sale now, like that video we put out last week about Newcastle and Man City, you can get them on general sale with 4 tickets to a person. Do you think it's a bad thing if the ball said it as we are saying it here? This is a long road. It's going to be fucking bumpy at the start. Stick with it because we really believe in it. Why don't you think we ever get that? Why do you think we've always been told we are big, we want to compete everywhere, yet they never show it with their checkbook or what we see on the pitch?
Do you know what, right? If Frank got appointed and the ball come out and said, look, we are going through a rebuild, yeah? You're going to have to give Frank a couple of windows and that. Fans would understand and be like, yeah, okay, like, we get it. But when you've just won Europa League, you have something to build on with Ange. Like, you know, no one will know what chapter 3 was like or anything like that because we lost all momentum of that chapter when we sacked Ange. No one knew how good it was going to be or how bad it was going to be. But I don't think it would be as bad as what it currently is now. No. Yeah, we'd be higher up the table. We'd be playing attacking football. Yeah, we may have won games like fucking 5-4, 7-6 and that, but it had us entertained, yeah? Right now, it's nothing. And I think you'll get time at Spurs if the fans take to the manager. And the fans are not taking to Frank. And so the issue is, Frank's not going to last at Spurs, I don't feel. I don't think Frank will last January, if I'm honest. Because we might beat West Ham, but I don't think we're going to go and beat Burnley. And then we're going to go and lose to Newcastle. And then we're going to go and lose to Man City. So come the end of January, I think Frank will be gone. And I said this in the WhatsApp chat the other day. I think the fans are so disconnected in Tottenham right now. I think one good thing the board can do in January is potentially bring back Poch in the summer. It might not work. It might not work with Poch, but it's to get the fans back on side into the stadium. He may only last 2 years, but then he'll be part of that.
Yeah, but Matt, we want. I said in the group, we want stability, mate.
No, I know
to have to hire a manager
yeah.
just to make everyone happy again.
No, I'm not saying that.
It doesn't show a real thing of ambition.
Kev, do you not think Poch will bring us stability then?
I don't think that's a given at all.
No, it's not. Nothing's a given. Nothing's a
given.
Yeah,
he had a team as well. He had a team that was a lot better than this one. Like,
okay, but he progressed a lot of players in that time as well, TJ. And he's got players, good young players like Bergvall, Archie Gray, Tell, Odegaard. You're telling me he can't move them forward?
I'd take him in a heartbeat.
I would, 100%. I'll have Poch back tomorrow.
So
with the board, they just need to be honest with us now and just tell us what's what. Yeah, don't tell us you've got 150 million kitty there and then not go and spend it. Don't go and like bid 80 million on Gibbs White and give us full readings. Do you know what I mean? So where is all this 80 million now? Like, what is it suddenly just gone? Like, they need to be honest and just say, guys, you're just going to have to be patient, and we're going to have to do this over the next couple of windows. And then the fans will understand, but don't just give us false readings where they come out every single week before the season starts in September, and then you don't hear from no one again. Like, I know there's another protest, I think, planned against West Ham, and I honestly do think now the only way we're going to get out of that board, I honestly think the protest isn't enough. It has to be a boycott of a big game on TV when it means something. West Ham would be ideal for that. Just boycott the game and just let it be. That's me personally. Yeah. And that will hit the board so hard because it's a massive game for us that normally sells out that 60 whatever thousand stadium. But imagine going in there with only like 20,000 fans.
We've been saying that for years, though, Matt. As a podcast, we've been saying this for years, right? That's the only way to hurt
we need to do that,
boycott games.
Oren, did you have something to say, mate?
Yes, it's just to come back in and just to talk about the board and their words. And I think, you know, as other fans look in on Spurs and think that sometimes Spurs fans are arrogant, it's not us that's saying that we want to compete on four fronts. It was the board.
Yeah.
After they sacked Ange Postecoglou. So how could, for me, that translates as we're going to go for this, guys. And you get a manager that befits going for it. And for me, when Frank was appointed, you just felt a little bit like, oh, all right, it's Thomas Frank. Like, do you know what I mean? It didn't inspire. So if it didn't inspire me as a casual fan, what is this doing to players who, like you said, Lee, earlier, Van der Ven still sounds like he'd run through a brick wall for him. So we have to look at
who does inspire you, Oren? Who inspires you? You know, if Frank went now, who did give you that?
So I agree with Matt. Really, Frank has to go. A caretaker of some sort has to be brought in. We're all saying the season's over, so just bring a caretaker in, and we have to go hell for leather to get Pochettino back in the summer. Twofold. One, I think we've got the nucleus of good young players and academy players coming through, whereby he can develop players. And two, and Kev, I don't, you know, whether you like it or not, it needs a manager that's going to galvanize the fans. It really does. And you know, we cannot go in looking at another Frank. You know, you're seeing people like.
I'm not saying I'm a bit like you with the Frank thing. You know, I think the Bournemouth guy was the one I probably really wanted. Might have felt excited.
Yeah, Areola. Yeah.
With Glasnow, I was a bit like, yes, he's done a great job at Palace, but coming to us, like you've seen with Frank, it's a whole different fucking deal. It really is. I mean, if I had to pick anyone at the moment, it'd be Eddie Howe would be my fucking. And I laughed. I laughed at Lee before we got Conte when he wanted Eddie Howe. I think he was at Celtic at the time, and I laughed at him. And now you watch the job he's done at Newcastle. That guy would excite me now. But I just think Pochettino for me is a guy. We're not forgetting of how shit it went at the end towards him. You know, you can slag the board off as much as you want and everything else, but you know, it's a bit like the Frank thing. He couldn't get him playing either what he had. You know, you kind of know the cards you dealt with at the time with the board. You know, maybe Pochettino should have fucking walked at the time we were successful and he wasn't getting the players he wanted, but he stood around probably for the love of the club, and it went stale for him. But like TJ saying, he had a great side. But where he's been since and what kind of job opportunities he's taken now, for me, I don't know if that is going to be a given for me. And I'm old school, and the Chelsea thing will always irritate me. But I'm trying to look past that in terms of him coming to us. But I just don't know if that is the answer. I feel like it's a bit of a desperate appointment in terms of having to fix everything. And after 5 games, if he lost his first 5 games, I don't know if the fans would give him time either. I don't know. I mean, this is where the kind of muddle we are as a club. Coming from the board, like you're saying, nobody knows what direction we're pulling in as a club, and that's alarming. And I mean, I come in last night and dropped a big long message on the one of our other chats, Oren and Lee, that you're in as well, and said about Arsenal and you know how they've done it the right way, and we really have to look at them in terms of a team really at the point of Arteta, we was kind of better than them or as good as them. And where they are, where we are, and that has got to be put on the club as a whole of the wrong direction and the bullshit, like you just said, Oren, that they're feeding us to go that we're going to go one better this year. We're going to go and buy all players. We're going to challenge on 4 fronts. Daniel Levy saying he wants to win the fucking Champions League and the title and all that. Come on, boy, it's fucking fellas load of bullshit, you know.
Yeah, but
sorry, Lee. The irony of Arsenal is they were probably looking at our model 7-8 years ago, and
they were.
He was doing.
They were. That's why you see Saka, Smith Rowe, although he's gone, and Skelly, and like you do. You know, I don't want to give them the time of day on that, but the model, as you said, Kevin, that chat was right, and it's worked. But they saw with Arteta where they wanted to go, a style that they wanted to play. He might have not got it right all the time, but they believed in it and they gave him the money. Oh, you want a centre midfielder? Here's Declan Rice. Oh, you want another centre half? Here you go. You got this. Oh, you need the forward. Whether or not this guy Gyökeres has done any good, they've given the money where they think they need
as well.
Yeah, goalkeeper. They've not shied away.
One that should have come to us and fucked about and lost him.
Yeah,
I mean, how much would he improve the side? Because I think the current keeper at the moment isn't at the fucking races whatsoever. I mean, I look at David Raya now. He's probably the best goalkeeper in Europe for me. And we had a chance to get him from Brentford, and we pissed about. And again, lost out on key players that they've gone and got and improved even more now. And it's just like that's where we are. That's where we have been as a club in the last few years. Just an absolute fucking mess in terms of direction.
I think this is it. You know, I'm a big fan of Eddie Howe. I think he went into a shit show at Newcastle. All right, they did have money coming in, but they couldn't spend it all. But they spent it well. But he still had to get a tune out of that team, and he got out there. Don't forget, he came in. They lost to Cambridge in the 3rd round at home in the FA Cup. Within 2 or 3 years, he's won their first cup in 60 years, and he's done that. And he's brought European nights. He's brought in a style, high press, quick attacking. When they've had to break quickly, that's what they do. He's brought something in. He's brought in a sense of what he knows, what that club wants, and he delivers it.
What's the commonality here, though? What's the common theme that we're seeing here? We're seeing managers being brought in for longevity and being backed in what they need.
Yeah,
of course. That's what's happening at Spurs.
Didn't happen on the pitch, and that's the thing. You know, I know, like in his.
And to be fairly, if Eddie, sorry mate, to interject, if Eddie Howe, someone we're looking at, I wouldn't want to come to Spurs if I was him. He's just won Newcastle their first trophy in what was it, 50 odd years, 70 years, something, and he's competing.
Also, just like you're saying, he's at a club where he is given the right to buy his own players. He goes, knocks on the door, and goes, "Look, I want to play a high press. I want to do this. I need this player. I want this guy for 60 million." And he goes and gets them. Why would you leave that to go to a club that penny pinch, sack managers for fucking fun, and have no idea where they're going as a club? Why would you want to leave that to come and join Tottenham? And that's the worst thing about it, I think.
Yeah, this is the thing. I look at Tottenham, and I've looked at it for a long time at Tottenham, as in we will get the person that's getting noise about them. So Frank is the latest in the line. Poch really was part of that line, but it turned out good. And the guy loves the club, so I've got a lot of love for him. The guy's meeting up Perriman, Cliff Jones, and all that for Christmas dinners. You know what? He gets it. He gets it. He didn't know those guys. He
knows what he's doing, that boy. He knows what he's fucking doing, doesn't he?
You know what I mean? And he's never heard that he wants to think. So the love, the passion goes a long way with me. If you're loyal, you're passionate. Chelsea thing I didn't like, I'll look past that.
I was about to say, he ain't loyal though, is he?
No. Well, but he, you know, it was hard to get him sacked because, you know, it was the first bad run in about 5 years. He came in, he had to get rid of the shit. Do you remember he had all that shit with Adebayor and a few of those boys? He got rid of those. He took a chance on bringing players like Kane in, whatnot. Kane good. You know what I mean? He developed. He made Carl Walker a better player. He made Danny Rose a better player. You know, he had 2 centre halves that, you know, were gems, but he brought them even stronger. I think, you know, he fits the mold of a project, as does Eddie Howe. They're the two there. The problem that Tottenham have, in my opinion, is we always look at who's the guy that they're talking about in the last 6 months, or who's the guy who's done half decent. Oh, it'd be the Brighton manager next, or the Bournemouth manager now. You know, I like the Bournemouth manager. Don't get me wrong, and he's got limited resources. But also, and Glasner and all that. But I'm seeing them not doing that well. Bournemouth were behind us before they beat us the other night. I don't know if they're still there. I think they might still be there. I'm not sure. Palace, again, you know, good side, good manager. Obviously, again, limited resources. But that might happen at Tottenham, as we see here. But at least, you know, I think we'd only get Howe if he gets sacked from Newcastle. I do believe in the next year, maybe even by the end of the season, they will look on to get a big name. I do think that will happen. There's already talk about it sort of happening around there. He's got to almost repeat what he did last year to keep that job, or get him in the Champions League. Yeah, so he needs to repeat some form of a success. But for me, I just feel that this board do not look at football in a wider sense, and they do not understand what a project is, and they do not come out to us as fans, whether that's us at the armchair or you guys there, dead front center every week, home and away. They do not come out and they do not talk to us in a real transparent manner, you know, and that is the thing. The first thing I would do as a board, fucking get the people on side. give everyone a fucking token for a pint and a pie. We're in this fucking big old fucking stadium with loads of money. We see the profits. We know what they earn. We know what they make. What does it hurt to go, you know what? We ain't been good. Here's a drink on us. Come in. We really want this to work. Where is that kind of chat? I've seen it at Leicester City back in the day. And what happened to them? They won the league. They won the FA Cup. We can say now, all right, they've been relegated. They're a yo-yo team. But I tell you what, I'd take the league and the FA Cup in the last 10 years and bounce up and down and then win a championship. I'd do that kind of thing. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, but with a board that understands what you want. This board, all they think about is the bottom line. The bottom line. Oh man, it was unlucky, wasn't it? We got beat today. But go and watch James Black in Gangway 302. That's no diss on James Black. That's just saying, like, that's what we think about. Oh, just go and sing your troubles away. No, let's start like that. Let's go right. That we get you. We get you. And there's no one, not even Levy. They don't get us. They get what is right for the business. They get what is right for the family. They get what is right for the company of Enid. That needs to change for us to all understand that this will be a marathon, not a sprint, because it's going to be tough and we have to stick through it. That's how I personally think it all works, because otherwise you become disillusioned. There are times now I'm looking, you know, I've got fucking Sky, TNT, whatever stream you can find. And there's times I'm going like, babe, put on the traitors. Yeah. Put the traitors on. Fucking hell. Like when I watched SmackDown early. Do you know what I mean? Because you can't. I want to feel good. Do you know what I mean?
Is Pochettino on the traitors?
Mate, he's not. He was a traitor, but in an indirect way. He didn't leave us for it. But yeah, for me, board transparency would go a long way. This guy, Vinay, came in as a PR guy. From July to September, I saw that guy in sit-down interviews, press clippings, newspaper articles, sound bites on Twitter. Since then, the first time I saw him yesterday was clapping at the game for, big love to Martin Chivers. Do you know what I mean? That was the first time I've seen him clapping for him. I ain't heard that guy. In our tough times, I haven't heard a word from him about where we're going, what the state is. Stick with it. We really know where we're going. Just a little bit of a feeling of us to understand. I've not seen any of it. And that,
I think that's one of the big problems, Lee. People say, I put that picture on the Instagram of the Supporters Trust, and like they're like us. They demand answers. They want to know where we're going. They don't like the quietness. And when it's shit like this, you really want your board or your chairman or Vinay, whoever it is, to come out and go, right, look, this is what we're doing. This ain't happening because of this. You just want a bit of honesty, and that's where I think it rubs people up the wrong way, where we're too quiet when things are bad, but when things are okay, we're fucking, like you said, going on interviews and having interviews at the training ground and everything else. So it's when the chips are down is when you want them to come out to appease everyone and just go, look, this is where we are, this is where we're going. Hold tight, lads. It's going to be a fucking long one, but they don't, and that's what infuriates people, and that's why people won't accept anybody in that club until it's sold and the new owners come in and start putting money into the club in a serious manner in terms of wages, players, coaches, whoever we get, and try and get us playing the way we want to play. But at the moment, these guys seem like they like to go in their shell when things are not great, and that is only going to infuriate us more.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Like I would take it if a board told me, guys, this is how much we spend, this is how much we make. We're like the 7th, 8th team in expenditure, so we're going to try and get Europe. This is where we are. It's going to be a few years. We want to sort out more payment on the stadium and break down loans and what. If you tell me all that, as much as a football fan, I know it's all stuff that I shouldn't have to care about. If you tell me how, like, listen, I listen to the government, right? Whether I agree with them or not, that's not the thing. But if you tell me how things are going to go, at least I know where your head's trying to get at. Right? If you hear that from a board, at least I can understand where we are. When you're telling me we're going to compete on 4 fronts, as Orange says, I'm going, why are we going out in the 3rd round? Why is it 11 days in and I'm seeing players go, or, I'm not even seeing anything. All I'm hearing about is a teenage left back. When that's the one position, we've got players in. Davis, Spence, Udogie, now this guy. What the fuck? So that for me is, it's unspeakable, because they don't help themselves. And then they get out of jail because they'll get rid of this guy, and then they'll go and get Poch, and then they'll go, well, we're delivering what you asked. You're all singing, or, whether it be you all want him out, but we've done it. We're listening. We listen to you. It's bollocks. But look, we could talk about this all day, and I think it's been a fantastic analysis from all of you. The one thing I will go round, I'll start with you, Matt, is, you've kind of said it, but West Ham, Burnley, if you could give me 2 scorelines, what would they be?
I think we're maybe scrape through West Ham. And that's because I think they'll come with a low block. I think we're kind of scrape and we haven't got the players to kind of break them through. Burnley, I'm going to say a draw, mate. I don't see us beating Burnley.
And would he keep the job for that? Is that enough to keep the job?
Look, then I don't think, part of me thinks that Frank will get sacked in January. The results don't go his way. But then it's another manager, the ball that have failed. Yeah, and that's the truth. Like, we're in January, the ball are failing Thomas Frank right now by not giving him any resources at all. He's down to his bare bones, playing kids like Anjak to do, and we kept saying the same thing. What are the ball going to do about it? The transfer window is open. What are you going to do about it? And right now, there's nothing. So they're going to foul another manager.
Yeah, it's pretty shitty. Orin, you could give me 2 scorelines, mate, and where Frank is after those, what would you say?
Yeah, so West Ham, I don't think we'll beat West Ham, to be honest, at home. I think there's a draw. There's a draw there, and Burnley, I can't see us winning that either. To be perfectly frank and honest, I cannot see it. My arse is that far up my head at the minute, or my head is that far up my arse, should I say? Yeah, I can't see where our next win's coming from, guys. Unfortunately,
Teach, how do you feel?
I just think they're must wins. I do. I mean, obviously we've got the Dortmund game in between that as well. But
yes, of course.
I mean, who knows what's going to happen with that, right? I mean, like I say about the Champions League, I think it's just staying it as long as possible, really. So you're not gonna win it. So, but yeah, West Ham, it has to be a win. We can't not win that game. If we don't win that game, I mean, they lost fucking 3-0 to Wolves. They were awful in that game.
Just about
and the Forest game as well. I thought they were.
Wolves beat us at the moment. I'm telling you now, if we went away to Wolves, that would lose.
Yeah, no, if that's bad, if that's the case. But yeah, I think we'll beat West Ham, and I kind of agree with Matt. I think it will be scrappy. I think maybe a 2-0, 1 goal each half sort of thing. It'll be scrappy. I don't think we're going to go and blow them away. And Burnley, I still think we'll win that as well. I think Burnley are a side that don't really know themselves at the moment. I think they're struggling to get results. They can't keep clean sheets. Listen, I thought we was going to win every game over the festive period, and I mean, I looked at the fixture list we had, and for me that was meant to be our easy run. And then you look at what we've got coming up now. Obviously, West Ham and Burnley aside, that we have got probably one of the hardest February's fixtures we could ask for.
TJ's still pissed from last night.
Well, probably. But listen, I think we'll win both them games, but. I mean, we have. That's me saying it because we have to win those games. If we do not beat West Ham and Burnley, we are in trouble. I don't think we'll get relegated because I think there's three worse teams there. But if you do not win those games, we will be down there. We'll finish in 16th, 17th again.
Fucking hell. Kev,
next two Prem games, massive.
Yeah, it's huge. Kev, scores.
Yeah, I'm going to go the other way. I'm Mr. Negative normally, but I think that second half performance against Villa is so important now to, like I said, to set the benchmark. And I expect us to start the game like that. I really do. They know they can do it. Whether or not they took it upon themselves to do it, I don't know. But that is where, if they have done that, that is what I want them to do again against West Ham. So I think with players coming back, I mean, with Dogi back in there, Solanke back, who's the other one? I can't remember who the other one is now. But, them sort of players coming back in with such an importance in the game. Romero was the one actually going to be back for that, isn't he? So I fancy us to beat West Ham. I really do. But, if we didn't have that second half performance like we did against Villa, I would say that would probably draw or lose. But that has just given me a bit of fucking false hope. It'll probably come back to bite me in the fucking arse, but it's just given me a little bit of a glimmer that, they actually can play like that when they want to. And if they did play like that, I don't think West Ham live with us. And I think we'll win comfortably as well. But the Burnley game is going to be a different... I think that's going to be a bit of a trickier game in sense of going up there, playing against a team that are going to try and rough you up a bit, going to go at you. It's that creative side, what TJ's saying about low blocks as well. you know, if they can play like they did against Villa in terms of attacking freedom, then it's a different story. But I think Burnley would give us a tougher game than West Ham. So I'm going to go for 4 points out of the 2. You know, and I think Frank sneaks through January before the big games start in February. I mean, like TJ saying, that February run is fucking horrendous in terms of where we are as a club at the moment, the players, the teams we're playing. So it was really important to get these wins against Palace. You know, should have beat Brentford. Them should have beat Sunderland, them sort of games, because it is going to be a tough Feb. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I'll go for 4 points. But the West Ham game is like TJ said, it's massive. And if he doesn't win any of them games, then fucking hell, he is really a dead man walking, I think.
Yeah. I mean, look, lads and everyone listening, watching along, thank you very much. And big love. It was Timmy, wasn't it, Matt? Have I got his name right there? Was it right?
Timmy was in there. Yeah, Timmy was in there. Yeah.
Big love to Timmy. Like, you know, it means so much, things like this. You know, when you've got supporters that will do this all the time, that will try to G up like a set of disgruntled supporters, because you can't help but be disgruntled. So we need characters like that. So big love to Timmy. This Saturday, it's a 3 o'clock kickoff against West Ham. That is perfect, peak. You know, it's traditional. It's exactly what you'd want. You know, like, get in there, enjoy the day, and let's hope that we get something from this, because it is so important. Nobody ever wants or shows hate to a manager. It's not that we mean it in that sense, but if you can't see something coming in the end, that's the like we've been saying here. I mean, Oren said it, the bare minimum is seeing what we've seen for 20-25 minutes yesterday. We've got to see that. If they come out like that, you know what I mean, it's just going to G us up a little bit. Everybody, whether you're in the ground watching at home, you're just going to think, okay, right now, you know, sometimes with management, you know, you've got to sometimes see yourself and go, well, that's not worked. That seemed to work. Let me give more freedom to so and so. If that can come out and we see that manifest against West Ham and it's a positive result, everything just looks a little bit brighter. There is a long journey. The board have to come out for me to do a lot to help us all understand what this journey is. Support the manager or not support. If you're not supporting him, then you're already fucking him up. But yeah, we could go on for days. Lads, it's been a real, you know, it's tough, but it's a real good barometer of where Tottenham sits from a fan base. You know, we've got you guys, Matt, Kev, TJ. Thank you so much. You've been there yesterday. Let us know about the atmosphere, about the intent, but about the real struggle. And Oren, you know, fantastic viewpoint on it all holistically, seeing exactly what this club is about and where you think it's going wrong. And, you know, the values and opinions have been fantastic. So let's hope that we turn a corner. That's all we can do now. You know, it's been a shit week. All we can do is turn a corner. Oren, big love, bruv. Come on anytime you want, mate. It's been a joy to have you on.
No worries, anytime.
And Matt, Kev, TJ, all the very best. Are you all going on Saturday?
Yeah, everything we've just said about boycotting it, and we're all going. Yeah, so
I'm actually not going. So TJ, make sure you get them fucking going at South Stand, mate.
I'm not going either.
Oh no, right.
So to be fair, I'll say this now. I'll see how I feel at the moment, because fucking Adam, it's boring, isn't it? But it's West Ham. I love beating West Ham. Fucking love beating West Ham.
If we beat them, hopefully the clouds slightly dissipate. But anyways, lads, all the very best. Thanks for everybody who's been watching. Big love to our sponsors, Hotspur, Heritage, and Optimus UK. Please give us a like, a follow, a subscribe. Tell everyone you know about the Heart and Hair Spurs Fans podcast. We're across everything. Obviously, our pods are on Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you get your podcast. But we're also socially on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, on X. We're everywhere. Please come and follow us. Give us a like and subscribe, because it really helps us to get our podcast out to many people. And it's been a really positive week to get our viewpoints, because that's all we are. We're a bunch of Spurs fans. None of us claim to be oracles. We're passionate. We're emotional. We tell it as we think it is. We're guys that want to get down the pub and discuss it. That's kind of what we do here. So your likes and your subscribes really mean a lot. Let's hope we are back next week with a victory over West Ham. Until then, keep the faith, however hard it is. And come on, you Spurs.
Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim chim.
Cheers,